What's going on, everybody? We have a new episode of the Bitcoin Source. We have a special guest in the building, Elizabeth Olson. Can you start things off by introducing the world to who you are?
Sure. Hey everyone, nice to meet you. My name is Elizabeth Olson. I'm head of growth at Xverse, which is the leading wallet for Ordinals and Bitcoin Web3. You can check us out, can download us on iOS or Android or Chrome browser extension, and we're your gateway to the Bitcoin ecosystem. So that's what I'm working on.
So, Elizabeth, I think the burning question here is, how did you get started at Xverse and, what got you into Web3?
Sure. Happy to get into that. So, my story, I'm actually relatively new to the Web3 space. I actually come from the luxury sector, where I was working at, well, most recently at Sotheby's Auction House. And what really sparked my interest in crypto was when I was there during the time when we were launching the Sotheby's Metaverse. I started to see a lot of digital auctions, which are like digital NFTs tied to physical products, physical property that we were auctioning off. And then of course I was just seeing crypto going corporate. I mean, it was incredible. It was right around the bull market, and the market cap was hitting about $2 trillion, and I just knew that there was really something special here that I wanted to be part of and have direct impact on. So I decided to start looking at opportunities, and actually a recruiter approached me and proposed me to work at Xverse. And I thought, what better way than to start at Bitcoin? I'm a Bitcoiner, and what better way to start there, where we're really offering the best on ramp to other Bitcoiners, and this incredible ecosystem that's being built out. And then also just having the experience of being at a Bitcoin wallet, you get kind of a seat at the center of all the action happening. So DeFi, NFTs, dApps, and Bitcoin usernames, and really payments, everything that you can think of in an ecosystem. The wallet kind of is the gate, is the portal to that. So I just figured that was the best place to start. So yeah, it's been great being in the space.
Yeah, what I love about that story is that, everybody's entry into this ecosystem is vastly different. And of course, your prior experience, your prior knowledge on other things inside of your career can also help you build onto Bitcoin. And I think a lot of people get scared off by the fact that they're not technical, or they don't know a ton about the protocol, so they can't work in Bitcoin, or they can't be a part of this ecosystem. And
Mhm.
your story is a perfect example of how that's not true, and that you can utilize your skill set that you've had throughout your career, and you'd be surprised to see how many recruiters or people from different companies will want to onboard you and have you actually help build this great thing called Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's like any industry, we need people of all different skill sets here. It's not just about people in finance or who are engineers. We need people who have marketing and accounting and HR and all of these different skill sets. So yeah, I totally agree with you. It's something that's important, and there's so many opportunities out there. And I have to say, I've just been blown away by how welcoming and inclusive this space has been, from my personal experience. So yeah, definitely, I 100% back that. Encourage people to, if you're curious, don't be intimidated. Just start learning, start growing, and getting involved.
Yes, most definitely. And I want to get into Xverse, your company, where you work for. And the burning question for me is, like, right now, I know you just saw the Bitcoin Magazine conference, and ordinals and NFTs are like a hot topic right now. And it's kind of like a divided place for Bitcoiners right now. Some people like them and they think that it's innovative and new. And then you have like the traditional maxis, the old school OG guys that do not like them and think that they're a waste of time and they're just taking up space on the blockchain. But for you, Elizabeth, my question to you is, how does the technology behind Bitcoin NFTs and ordinals actually work?
Yeah, happy to get into that cultural tension as well later. We can certainly touch on it. But I agree. I think let's first maybe touch base around like what are ordinals. So and maybe even backing up further, what are Bitcoin NFTs? Because it's funny, I think people used to kind of laugh at that. They didn't realize Bitcoin NFTs even existed. And even before ordinals, there were Bitcoin NFTs. In fact, the first Bitcoin NFT was Rare Pepe. It was minted in 2016, but Bitcoin doesn't have the smart contract capabilities necessary for NFTs. So a lot of that, all the artists, all of that talent went over to Ethereum where they could build out and mint their art in a really much more seamless way, less expensive. And then so Bitcoiners started looking at other solutions, for example, layers. And then we saw the Stacks Bitcoin layer, which is one of the most, actually the most prominent project, built Bitcoin Web3 project at the moment, building out, offering NFTs as a scalability solution. But I think a lot of people were just totally so excited about Ordinals because for the first time ever, we're able to have essentially a non-fungible token on directly on the Bitcoin base layer. And what that means is basically we're taking the smallest monetary unit of Bitcoin, which is a Satoshi. So think of like a dollar to a cent, basically taking a little cent of Bitcoin, and we're inscribing data directly onto that token, which is really exciting. That can look like in the form of a JPEG and can look like a video or eventually music, and can look like text. And people are just so excited about this because for the first time we can have that on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is the most secure and valuable settlement layer out there. So that's how ordinals work, and happy to delve into that a little bit further. But that was developed in December last year and has just since totally exponentially taken off. It's really been so exciting to see that growth.
Yeah, I kind of want to play devil's advocate here, like in the context of ordinals. So like I know that you can put pictures and JPEGs on the blockchain thanks to ordinals and NFTs, but for example, if I wanted to take a picture to remember something that I did maybe 5 or 10 years ago, I'm assuming that the blockchain will store that and keep that over a long period of time. But when we talked about like cultural tension, like why do you think people are, or some people I should say, are so against
Mhm.
having JPEGs and just text script on top of the blockchain versus just using Bitcoin for what it is, which is to keep your store of value, your money secure? Like, why do you think there's so much cultural tension there?
Yeah, great question. So, and that's part of why ordinals I think became so popular because there was that tension. There was all of that, what we call maximalist, people who believe in Bitcoin as being leveraged as a sound money layer, as like gold, and that's it. Like it's a very kind of purist mentality. But the fact is that it was always something that you can have fun with. Like apparently Satoshi was using it for poker and other use cases, and so really there are other opportunities out there for Bitcoin, and the fact is that Bitcoin is permissionless. And so new developments on Bitcoin, it's not only possible and permissionless and within those parameters, but also it's good for Bitcoin. So for example, it does incentivize the miners, and I think there's concerns around congestion of the blockchain. But the fact is that if we want to onboard 1 billion people to Bitcoin, those fees are going to be high anyway. So that congestion is coming to us, whether we want it or not. Like if we really believe in Bitcoin and Bitcoin adoption and what this can offer the world and society, then we need to prepare ourselves for that. So one of the best things about ordinals, whether you like these JPEGs are in Bitcoin or not, but one of the best things is that it is bringing talent to the ecosystem, and we are forcing ourselves to face the need of scalability solutions, and that's actively being built out. So I think that's probably one of the things that excites me most about ordinals.
Yeah, that answer was awesome. I really appreciate that, Elizabeth. And Xverse is doing a gamut of different things, and I think that they're really innovative and they're doing things that you don't see a lot of other quote unquote Bitcoin companies doing because they're dealing with the innovative side, the NFT side, and just really connecting other businesses to be in this community of other Bitcoiners, right? And there's tons of challenges that we're seeing just with keeping the original blockchain patched up, making sure that requests are resolved, BIPs are resolved. And now you have ordinals coming into the mix. And of course, there's tons of different, vacillations of images, texts, recordings, all these different things that are just being pulled into the ordinal world. So, how is Xverse kind of combating the challenge of trying to get ordinals to be something that's mainstream and ubiquitous in the space?
Yeah, well, I think that's a great question because initially ordinals wasn't on our roadmap because this is also new since last December. Ordinals wasn't on our roadmap for 2023. So we really had to turn around and hustle and make sure we were providing the solutions needed for the ecosystem. So just to give you an idea of kind of the before and after, before Ordinals could take hours, if not days, to inscribe. And, with the new marketplaces now and with the Xverse opportunities, apologies for the siren, I'm in New York City. But with these opportunities, we're really providing wonderful solutions for the user experience. For example, probably most importantly is providing two separate kinds of addresses, because an ordinal is Bitcoin. It's a form of it's Bitcoin payment. People were accidentally inscribing and creating an NFT on a Satoshi, but then sending it away as a Satoshi payment in their wallet. And what Xverse provided was two separate addresses so that they could differentiate between the Ordinals NFT and a Bitcoin payment address. So that's the first solution we provided. Another is, of course, the efficiency and the speed. So now people can mint. I mentioned before, it would take hours and hours, but now it's a matter of seconds. Partnering with various marketplaces like Gamma and Magic Eden. Of course, there's a beautiful gallery and the ability to transfer and do trustless swaps. We can edit network fees, which is really great for when you're needing to do a fast mint, especially with public mints these days. And all of that is possible not only on the desktop, but also iPhone. So people can be doing this on their phones, on the go, which is so great because you're getting a similar experience to what you would on other blockchains like with Ethereum and MetaMask or Solana and Phantom. You're getting this similar experience. So it's really easy for people to come over to Bitcoin, have a familiar experience with a wallet and with the minting process. So that's been really exciting. And then also something we're looking forward to is hardware wallet support. So we're positioning ourselves to become the first Bitcoin wallet to support to have hardware support for Ordinals. So that should be, it's a little alpha for you, that should be shipping very soon. And I think this has just been such an exciting moment for us at Xverse because we're seeing this amazing shift in the Bitcoin narrative, not just this pure money maxi mindset, but now people want to do more than just hold Bitcoin, and they can do more. So it's bringing a new wave of builders back to the ecosystem and lending integrity to those of us who are already there building. And I think one of the best examples of that is when Xverse, we experienced this firsthand when we were able to win the Paris Blockchain Week competition out of 700 startups. So that's a win for not only Xverse as a company, but for all Bitcoin builders out there. We're all working really hard to make the ecosystem a smoother and more developed space. So we're really excited to see that recognition in a broader capacity.
Yeah, I'm also excited to see that recognition. The younger generation, they're more gravitating towards NFTs, ordinals. It's fun, it's trendy. And I think that having that visual aspect of showing these companies, showing these VCs that, Xverse is capable of not only handling ordinals, but actually marketing this to a wide span area of people that might actually embrace this new version of this technology. And that kind of segues into another question I have for you, Elizabeth, which is when I talk about appearance, I know that you recently were in Bitcoin Miami, and could you tell us about the Ordinals gallery that you presented there?
Sure. Yeah, happy to touch on that. So a few months ago, when ordinals were coming out, we knew we wanted to really make some noise at the next big Bitcoin conference. This is Bitcoin Miami, is the largest Bitcoin conference in the world, with over, I believe, around 20,000 attendees. I'll have to double check on that number, but something like that. And we knew we wanted to ensure that ordinals were well positioned and had a place in that conversation, in those conversations. So we partnered with Gamma, which is one of the leading ordinal marketplaces out there, to offer a gallery, an ordinals gallery. So we presented the very first fine art and early inscriptions ordinals art gallery in partnership with Bitcoin Magazine. So we worked very closely with Bitcoin Magazine and our own curator to curate the art. And we titled the gallery the Bitcoin Renaissance, which is very fitting for the times. Um, and also we really just wanted this to be an opportunity for people to discover ordinals and the future of fine art on Bitcoin. So our curators were coming from places like Christie's, 6529 Art Blocks. We really brought in the experts in the field to select the art. And we had 21 screens total, and six of them were allocated to an artist open call, which meant we really wanted to make this as accessible as possible to any artist who wanted to apply, and open it up rather than just reaching out to specific projects, which we did with the other 15 screens. But we really wanted to open it up and really give the community an opportunity to participate and be featured. So we ended up having some really fantastic artists as part of the space. And on the flip side of that, we gave people the opportunity to write on some Post-it notes and inscribe directly on Bitcoin. So 100 of those notes we inscribed on Bitcoin. And we were also raffling off the one of one Bitcoin magazine Ordinal, which is I believe issue 14, which is actually archived at the National History Museum, National American History Museum. So that original copy, the cover of that, is now also an Ordinal. So we're going to give somebody both that Ordinal, it's a one of one, as well as a physical copy of the magazine. And we had a lot of people participate in the raffle. So just a great opportunity to find common ground, I think, because who attending the conference is not going to be a fan of Bitcoin Magazine, and they're putting on the conference. And also, we didn't want to offend any artists, of course, by selecting any particular project to raffle off. We really just wanted to find some common ground for everyone, even the purists out there, and just try to really bridge the ecosystem with this fun raffle and open it up to anyone to participate. So yeah, we're really pleased with the results. Actually, it's funny, Dottie. We were concerned about security at one point because of all the tension that was happening on Twitter with the maxis, and so at one point I remember me and Nick from Gamma, we were concerned with Bitcoin Magazine. Should we get some extra security here? But I have to say, when we were there in person, we just saw so much positive reaction to the space and to Ordinals, to the Ordinals gallery. So we were really pleased. People were generally quite respectful. Sometimes we had people come up and write bizarre things on their Post-it notes. People, they'll do that. They won't say it to your face. They'll just write it down somewhere, like they do on Twitter. But it was very, very positive reaction. So happy to have that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I think that's so fire. I think that it's just a really good marketing play for Xverse to actually be in Miami because Miami is so vibrant. There's a lot of colors. It has like a summer vibe, and art is really big in Miami. So I think that's like a perfect place to actually showcase Ordinals, showcase the new innovations that Xverse is kind of trying to build. But I really want to know about what's next for Xverse? What's next as far as Bitcoin goes? And is there going to be any layer two scalability solutions that Xverse is going to plan to build out?
Yeah. So, well, just to touch on what you were saying earlier, it was really perfect space place for Miami. Art Basel takes place there. You have different neighborhoods that are just full of street art. So, in a symbolic way, it was really perfect. And we were just really pleased that Bitcoin Magazine allowed us to allocate so much space of the conference, of the exhibition space. We had essentially 6 booths worth of space to be able to showcase this. So, really grateful to that as well. So in regards to what's next, Ordinals, they're here to stay. You can't do anything about them, whether you like them or not. Here they are. There was a great debate between Udi, the creator of Taproot Wizards, and some other maximalists on stage at the conference. And so that was fascinating to see. I've never seen such a well-attended panel. There must have been like 1,000 people there. There's so many people just like booing and getting involved and just coming with their wizard hats and just getting so excited about Ordinals in the space. And but also like you could kind of sense this tension. And just having that conversation up there was really was really phenomenal. Um, anyway, yeah, I mean, I think the point is they're here to stay. You can't just change anything on Bitcoin. That's the beauty of it. It's not censorable. And I think people are seeing that, now there's more utility on Bitcoin. It's not just a safe place to store your wealth, but now it's a safe place to store data as well. And that's huge for us. And now what's next is we need the infrastructure to be built out. We need layers. We need scalability solutions. And just to touch on like exactly what are layers, I didn't really do that earlier, but basically there are different layers. There can be different layers for a blockchain. So the base layer is the architecture of that layer, so Bitcoin itself. And then on top of that, you can have a layer 2 for protocol functionality, and that can enable the layer 3 dApps. And DeFi and NFTs and all these like GameFi, all of these other features as part of the ecosystem. So that's what is needed at this point, and it's really exciting to see. Also at Bitcoin Miami, a lot of these layers coming together at the Bitcoin Builders Conference. So we saw people from Lightning, from Rootstock, from Stacks, all coming together to discuss what's needed for Bitcoin and just really, let's join forces and go heads down. And I think it's thanks to Ordinals that people are coming together around that right now. There's a need for that. And that was really exciting to see. And that's what we have to do. We have to find that common ground, join forces. Xverse is, we support Stacks. We're actively working to integrate Lightning for instant payments. And then in general, I think this is just so good for the ecosystem. It's creating this kind of flywheel effect. You have builders coming to Bitcoin. It's like this homecoming moment. You have builders, you have brands and institutions. Even companies like Bugatti, they're launching their Ordinals collection. We're seeing luxury companies, and actually the Bugatti one, once fully minted, is positioned to become the first blue chip NFT on Bitcoin. So amazing just to see the creators, and then that leads to more investors, and then more talent and value, and ultimately mass adoption. So I think that's where we're headed. And Ordinals have just been the catalyst for it.
Yeah, most definitely. I agree with that as well. And, I got into this industry in
Of like
2017, switched over into podcasting because I wanted to find a way to get more people to pay attention to this protocol and have it be where you're seeing different individuals talk about this digital asset. You're not just seeing the same 5 people that you see all the time. I want to see more women, more people of color, more people coming from diverse backgrounds talking about this, because that's what the real world looks like. The
Yes.
real world doesn't look like the
Mhm.
typical middle-aged white male that has tons of money and got in early in Bitcoin. So talking to people such as yourself is huge, because there's so many women out there that might be curious or interested to get into this industry, and they don't see people that look like them. So
Mm.
the first thing they'll say is, "Oh, this isn't for me." This isn't for me, or I'm not savvy enough or smart enough to get into this space, and that's completely the wrong thing. And when you talk about Bitcoin Magazine, shout out to them. They've always been an open book when it comes to innovation, people trying out different things, even if they have some people in the space that might not agree with it. I think that Xverse is a perfect example of, you know, trying things out and see if they break. And if they break, you find solutions to fix them. So, Elizabeth, I really want to thank you for having this conversation. I think that the insight and the value that you bring to the Bitcoin ecosystem is extremely needed. So,
Thank
thank you
you.
for having this conversation. And if you have any last words or social media handles that you want people to know to connect with you, feel free to do so.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to chime in that last point there. I think that's so important to have diversity in the ecosystem. And what's fantastic about it is that, yeah, it definitely needs to be more diverse at the moment. But what's exciting is that so far we only have about 5% of the world holding crypto. And so that just shows like the need for mass adoption. And if we're going to bring that to the world, we need diversity. We need to bring in the talent. And there's huge opportunity for that. And I think people recognize it. And that's definitely a conversation that I'm starting to see a lot. And I'm just so glad that you're bringing that to the table here as part of your podcast. And I'm really honored to be on it. So thank you for having me today. You can follow me on Twitter. My handle is Elizabeth Olson. The last, it's OLS0N. Sorry, there's too many Elizabeth Olsons out there. Or alternative, you can find me at elizabetholson.btc. I do have a verified handle. And of course, please follow Xverse app on Twitter. You can also check out our website and download it. Just get started, play around with it. Let us know what you think. We have a really fantastic support team. We're here to listen and here for feedback and ideas. We love new ideas. So bring those to Twitter, bring those to our Discord. We have a very vibrant community. And we're just really excited to help onboard people.
Once again, Elizabeth Olson, thank you so much for taking time to have this conversation. Everybody out there, please like, subscribe on the channel, and please check out Xverse. They're doing big things in the space. Let's have a good one.
Cool. Thank you. You too.